and welcome to your channel. And today we would understand deeply how Israel's uh, where does the Israel stand geopolitically and how its factors XYZ factors affect the war between Iran and Israel. So to begin with, we would start with Israel's geography. So firstly, Israel, it shares border with Lebanon from the north. So why it's Syria and Jordan from northeast and north, and west it have Mediterranean Sea. So basically, if you look into deeply, it shares border with Lebanon, which acts as a base of Iran. Like Iran never directly attacks Israel, it has Lebanon, which acts as a launch pad for Iran to attack. So basically, Iran sends its armor and every asset to Lebanon, to the terrorist group called Hezbollah. Forward, we have Suez Canal and Red Sea access. So Israel has Suez Canal and Red Sea access, which you can see in the following map, which I'm going to show. So, and some basic information like Israel geographically is narrow at some region only 15 kilometers wide. Yeah, so basically Israel is a small country, very small country, and it's geographically most of the part is covered with unusable land. So most cities are located near coast of Red Seas. Another thing to add is, so of course Red Sea access it has, Israel has, and Indian Ocean routes, which is again the geographical factor. So talking about population, it's heavily populated and near Mediterranean coast and the most population and the what you say take finance ports, airports, malls, and all the other uh, like building and structures are situated near the sea. Okay, so moving forward now over the like most of their economy is dependent on these three factors. First is tech startup, second is defense tech, and third is agricultural tech. So these are three things. These, this, and this. These are three things which affect their economy mostly. So moving forward, their economy depend on global tech demand, foreign investment, security stability, US relationship. And yeah, that's it. Some global tech which progress them to boost their economy. So moving forward, we have another thing which heavily defines how geopolitically where the country stands, which is a water availability. So Israel is water scarce. As I told you earlier, Israel don't have their own water, I mean own rainwater or freshwater resource to use. So they heavily rely on seawater desalination plants. And yeah, it is covered with large desert areas, low rainfall in south, semi-arid climate, and fresh water reserves. So yeah, basically, as I said, Israel is very low dependent on the rainwater for fresh water from drinking water. It heavily relies on desalination plants for daily water usage. So there is one a desert, Negev desert, which covers more than half of the country. So as I said, this is desertous area, which covers more than half of the country, and like mostly cities and other main structures are situated near the port area or coastal areas of the country. So yeah, natural water resources. Uh, so yeah, these are some natural water resources: Sea of Galilee, Jordan River Basin, underground aquifers. So these are some natural water resources, and desalination very heavily dependent on this seawater desalination from Middle Eastern Sea. As I told you earlier, it heavily depends on seawater desalination from Mediterranean Sea. Major plants include Sorek, Ashkelon, Hadera. These are some major plants which desalinize. So there are some also cons, high energy consumption. As I told you, these plants acted as most critical resources. These are some critical points. Surik, Ashketon, and Hadera. In these places, there are major desalinization plants, and these are more critical plants because if if sometime attack happens, it can destroy these three places, and which can cause much more damage because these three are the places where desalinization happens, where water is being produced to drink. Okay, so moving forward, wastewater recycling. The treated wastewater is reused. Okay, so the treated wastewater which is there, it is reused for agricultural and irrigation. Food water availability. Food availability. So as I told you, they Israel depends very less on very I mean to say as comparatively it depends less on what it produces versus what it exports. It exports heavily the food and what it cannot grow or what requires much larger space on land and the water. So what it produces vegetables, some types of vegetables, fruits, dairy product, and poultry. Versus what it exports, wheats, grains, animal feed, and processed food. So moving forward, so yeah, these are some challenges. Limited arable land. As I told you, the country don't have much more land for large scale grain farming and they also don't have water resources to like grow much more fruits and vegetables and etc. So it is heavily dependent on imports and disruption in Mediterranean shipping, Red Sea trade, regional wars could affect it, their imports. So basically, if we talk about the negative, the cons which Israel faces right now, or Israel has geographically, is number one, most of the land is covered with desert. And the second factor which affects is low availability of rainwater. Like they can't rely on rainwater for daily usage and drinking water. They rely heavily on desalination plants. Number three, low irrigable land, which impacts import, heavy import. And secondly, also, yeah, I forgot to add a point. So yeah, for desalination plant, heavy energy is used. So yeah, these are some cons. Moving forward, getting on population. So population, current population is 10 million plus. Jews are 73%, Arabs are 21%, others 6%. Others include uh, secular. Sorry, other includes Muslim, Christian, Jews. One of the largest religion is Judaism, and subgroups are secular Jews, traditional Jews, religious, Zionist, ultra-Orthodox, Haredi. Okay, here it's written. And in Islam, There are Sunni Arabs mostly. Like there are two types of Muslim, as you know, Shia and Sunni. So Sunni are the dominating one there. Christianity is smaller but historically important. So we will talk later about how it's important, how Christianity is important there, and what role it played in historically. So yeah, Druze is small influential community with strong military participation. It is also a strong community over there. So let's move forward. Yeah, so moving forward, secular and conservative. So which areas are secular and which areas are conservative or religious area? This is important to understand because yeah, many factor dependent depends on the population, how population. Okay, so liberal secular areas are Tel Aviv. It is one of the most important city in Israel. Characteristic: westernized lifestyle, liberal social. So their characteristics are westernized lifestyle, liberal social values, tech startup culture, and LGBTQ acceptance, nightlife and modern life culture. Conservative and religious areas, parts of Judaism, ultra orthodox town, conservative religious areas, part of Judaism and ultra-Orthodox towns. There are some towns and some conservative areas, religious areas. Characteristics of them are strong religious observance, traditional gender roles, conservative social norms, and large families. Talking about birth rate and demographic reasons, religious community, strong family culture, strong demographic concern. And linguistic structure, Hebrew is the main language, Arabic comes the next, English, and then etc. Psychology and culture, high resilience, direct community direct communication direct communication style, high innovative mentality, and security consciousness. Education, STEM education system is there. Scientific research, engineering, and computer science is in demand and it's growing popularly. So top institutions include Technion, Israel Institute of Tech, Hebrew University of Tech of Judaism. Per capita income and economy, Israel has high income economy. GDP per capita is comparable to many developed countries. Okay, inequalities still exist. Tel Aviv is very wealthy. Like as I said, it is Tel Aviv is much more important factor and much more important place or city which plays a major role in contributing GDP of Israel. So settlement pattern, urban metropolitan. So urban metropolitan areas like Tel Aviv, Haifa, Jerusalem are the one of the most populated areas, and some others include and some other places include like kibbutzism, agricultural communities, West Bank settlements, Jewish settlement. So now moving forward, it's the last one: internal division, secular Israeli, liberal democracy, religious and orthodox. So there are ideological differences as well. So secular Israeli, which are mostly liberal, want liberal democracy, reduce religious control, equal military service, civil marriage, and modern education. This is what secular Israeli thinks or has characteristics of. So moving forward to religious or orthodox, what is their characteristics or ideology? So they have strong religious influence, Torah-based lifestyle, religious education on religious education funding, preservation of traditional values. So these are some ideological factors. They create difference and slight difference between secular Israeli and religious or orthodox. So yeah, there is another divide which is Jewish and Arab divide. So yeah, mostly like there was previously Palestine issue, economic inequality is another factor, and yeah, policing. However, Arab are also in parliament, businesses and medicine. So yeah, lot of Arabs are considered, which are so lot of Arab which are in Israel. So they are also in parliament, business and medicine sector. So moving forward, judicial crisis and constitutional tensions. So critics feared weakening court independence. So critics, some of the uh, what population feared that courts will become independent or dependent. So yeah, concentration of executive power. Supporters argued most courts have become more powerful than and unelected. So courts are becoming more and more powerful. So basically, looking at when we discussed about how XYZ factors affect the Israel's core and how things actually work and how things are actually there. And these things are these things are important to understand if you want to understand the if you want to understand the role which Israel plays in this war and how the outcome would be. So this is some pretty basic information about Israel, and we would talk into next video about how these factors change the war perspective and how the war leads on this factor. And yeah, we would discuss more factors where more factors due to which war is been slightly tilting and who would win the war and etc. things. So thank you for watching and please subscribe.